Well, my name is Paris Monroe. I do a breakfast show on Gadio weekdays from 7 a.m. Thank you very much, Sparkle, for having me. I appreciate it. Shout out to Sainsbury's, the headline sponsor. There's a couple of volunteers dotting about. Feel free to say hello. And up next, I'm very, very pleased to welcome on stage Chris Northwood, goes by she, her. By day, software engineer for a national charity, and this May was elected as the first openly trans councillor in Manchester. Please put your hands together. Give us a big whoop for Chris Northwood, please.
Thank you, guys. So, yeah, I'm Chris. If you go down that canal a little bit that way, you end up in the wonderful ward of Ancoats and Beswick, where this May I was elected with the biggest majority of any opposition councillor in Manchester to Manchester City Council for the Liberal Democrats. Woo! When I asked the Sparkle volunteers, what on earth do you want me to come here and talk to you about? I'm fairly sure you don't want to listen to the state of the Grey Mare Lane New Generation for 10 minutes, which is the kind of thing I normally talk about in council. But no, they said they wanted me to talk about the importance of trans representation in politics. And it is important, and it's not just important for those of us who are trans. It's important for society to see more diverse people into politics. Did you know that until earlier this year, there were more men named John as CEOs of companies in America than there were women of any type? When we see that everyone comes from the same background, when everyone in politics has the same sort of life experiences, we miss all the benefit we get from having people who've got those different backgrounds. And that's not just gender, it's race, disability, class. The strongest and most resilient systems in nature are those which are diverse. The same is true of human systems, and that's why it's important that we get trans people elected at all levels of government, not just locally. Because we need, in our politics, we need our halls of power, as they call them. They need to be filled with people who are actually representative of the whole of the nation and those who live there. Go put them there. So I was so proud to be elected to the council this May. Whilst our Tory Prime Minister is down making jokes at the expense of trans women to stoke his culture war, up here, Mancunians aren't laughing. Rishi Sunak, we're not a joke. And whilst Sir Keir Starmer stays silent, whilst rampant transphobe in his party like Rosie Duffield spread hate in the name of the Labour Party, ask you, Keir, what's the point of being the opposition if you're not going to stand up for minorities like us? I'm proud to stand for a party, the Liberal Democrats, that has consistently been on the right side of trans rights. Because I tell you, from my experience knocking on doors in a ward as diverse as Ancoats, trendy Ancoats to working class Beswick, most people, they're just taking a live and let live approach to us. Don't get me wrong, I know it's not everyone. I know there are transphobes who live in the area that I now represent, but they're not even transphobic to my face. They're transphobic to my team, they're transphobic behind my back. I think they do that because they know they're wrong. And they may be loud, but those gobshites on Twitter, there's so few of them. Standing for election was a bit of a weird thing to do as a trans woman only 18 months since starting hormones. I remember one door I knocked on, it's answered by this guy. He tells me categorically, I'm not going to vote for you. I'm not going to vote for anyone. All you politicians, you're liars. You're just out there for yourselves. You're snakes. And then my colleague Alan, who's in the audience, he comes over and says, is everything all right? And they go, yeah, I'm just telling you how you're all a bunch of snakes. So it was actually quite nice to get a bit of gender euphoria for being correctly gendered, but also a bit odd to do that whilst also being called a snake. There is one positive. I've got a great solution now when it comes to tackling that dysphoria you get from constantly looking at your face and overanalyzing it all the time. Just print off 9,000 leaflets with your face on the front of it on an almost weekly basis. You go shove it through loads of letterboxes. You quickly get desensitized to seeing yourself. Whilst up here, I wanted to kind of invite you all on the 12th of August to help celebrate Trans Pride. We're going to have a protest march through the city and other events to celebrate our joy and visibility organised by Trans Pride Manchester. We can celebrate our joy and visibility at events like Sparkle, but we also need to protest against hate. You can find out some more about Trans Pride Manchester at transpridemanchester.org, because it's kind of like the opposite, so the thing that fits to what Sparkle is as well. It's really important to resist hate. It's sad, but existing in public, embracing ourselves, our diversity, and not being in the closet is a revolutionary act. It really shouldn't be. It should be boring to be trans. I mean, not individually boring, because it's really exciting to come out of your shell and find out and discover who you are. But I don't want to have to plan holidays where I want to go with my girlfriends just based on where's safe. I want to do it where there's the coolest sights to see. I don't want to turn on the news and see yet another media interview with a transphobe claiming she's being cancelled. I want to see more trans mothers complaining about their water bills. And I don't want to feel conflict about liking books and movies that I read and watched as a child because J.K. Rowling has bought the lives of trans folks hook, line and sinker and now has it out for us. I don't want to be scared of being abused for wanting to have a wee whilst I go shopping. I want to get over this hump of transphobia and make transness be a boring thing. We're here because we're human. We want to live our lives and celebrate the joys of being free of a gender that doesn't match who we are, to those societal binds that have tied us down and stopped us from expressing ourselves as we want to be. We're here as whole humans. We're not someone's fetish, we're not some fundamental threat to society, but we are whole people. Trans joy and trans acceptance, it makes the world a better place. The fight for trans rights is a fight for human rights. You've heard the slogan, but it is true. To fix trans healthcare, you also need to fix healthcare. The NHS is a little bit broken right now. You need to believe people when they say they need help and not force them to jump through hoops. To dismantle oppression, trans oppression from the state also means to dismantle many other forms of oppression. Oppression based on poverty, conformity, sexual orientation, gender or sex. It means to reduce inequality. It's a shared struggle we all benefit from. I'm sure many of you here already have, but if you've not read Sean Fay's book yet, I highly recommend it as a rallying cry. This is why I'm actually a Liberal Democrat. Our party is a fight for liberal democracy, and we fight that fight for freedom, freedom from oppression, freedom from poverty, ignorance, and conformity. Society has so long tried to categorize us by their norms. I want to have a quick shout out to our non-binary friends who are here today, because as they gain increasing visibility in society, they help evaluate what does gender mean outside of the binary of sex. We're pushing forward that society and understanding, and what it means to be human is questions we're asking ourselves, and it's great. We've made ourselves. It's terrifying. It's also exciting, and by God, a world which has trans acceptance will be a beautiful place. That's why we fight for trans liberation. That's why we celebrate Joy Now. We'll be celebrating Pride at Trans Pride Manchester. I want you to all join us there and be part of that resistance and fight for that liberation. My one little step on that journey has to be to step up for the people of Ancoats and Beswick. I'm standing up for safe roads, for green space and affordable housing, as well as for trans rights, and I'm so honoured I've been trusted by my constituents to be able to do that. Trans people are here. We want to live our full lives, and we want to take full part in the life where we live, at every level of society, not hidden in a closet. I am so proud to be a trans woman. It's a joy and a blessing, and I know so many people in our community accept us. Trans people are here, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you.